Against Antibiotics Being Used in Animals for Food by Kalia Brown, Blanca Ayuka, Ashley Casillas, Leslie Coronado. Group 3, ASCI 6710.
Hi, my name is Ashley Casillas, and I'm presenting why antibiotics should not be used in our livestock or food animals. The three major reasons why is because of antibiotic resistance, the impact it has on the environment, and the residue it leaves in the animal products. One of the most significant or major concerns is the development of the antibiotic resistant bacteria. When we overuse or misuse antibiotics in livestock, it contributes to the emergence of the antibiotic resistant bacteria, which then reduces the effectiveness of antibiotics in the human medicine and veterinary. So whenever we attempt to take antibiotics for our health's sake, it decreases the effectiveness because of the antibiotic resistant bacteria. When using antibiotics in the livestock farming, it is very easy for these antibiotics to enter the environment through the runoffs or through manure, and then this leads to the contamination of soil and of the water source. Again, this also contributes to the development of the antibiotic resistant bacteria through the environment though. Another way that we're able to develop this antibiotic resistant bacteria is through animal products. So a lot of times, or through the improper use of antibiotics and from not adhering to withdrawal periods, residue of antibiotics can be left in our meat, milk, or egg products, which can raise regulatory issues as well as health risk for consumers. Once exposed, people may acquire superbugs and spread them to the community, or they may contract a drug-resistant illness, aka the antibiotic resistant bacteria. And then this was just cause for us to have a difficult time to treat our own illnesses, but also the illnesses of our livestock.
The ethical aspects of antibiotics being used in food animals, Leslie Garduño. The main ethical concerns are the welfare and impact of antibiotics being used in animals for food. The use of antibiotics in animals for food is inhumane and life-threatening, even though livestock producers state otherwise. There is a presence of antibiotics being overused to make up for the lack of care, management, and the poor conditions. It's like an insurance, which results in effortless growth for diseases. The use of antibiotics is to make the livestock producers' jobs easier by reducing the investment in time, cost, care, and environment safety. In food animals, the antibiotics are used to prevent, treat, and control bacterial infections. But is it good for human consumption? When people consume, it could lead to antibiotic-resistant infections and even death, as study cases have shown. Lastly, the responsibility and accountability of antibiotics used in food animals raise ethical concerns since producers sell animals that test positive for antibiotic resistance and destroy the evidence of those carcasses. Even though the USDA has made more regulations and policies, there is still a lack of improvement. To put into perspective, the image approximately shows that more than 2/3 of tons of antibiotics marketed in the United States are intended for use in food production, and this is globally expected to only increase. The cultural and sociological importance. Based on studies, the American culture, antibiotics used for food animals was introduced after 1945, post-war, to promote growth, protection, treatment, and prevention. Antibiotics used in food animals has been a controversial topic. Concerns about the quality of life of the animal, on the social, behavior, and cultural level, the management, priorities, and values of the livestock producers. Do animals really benefit from all the antibiotics pumped into them daily via nutrition and even water and veterinary prescriptions? The negative impact of antibiotics used in livestock harming the consumers. FDA allows for livestock producers to take a voluntary approach, thus not improving or reducing the issue. According to the CDC, approximately more than 2.8 million antibiotic-resistant infections occur in the United States yearly, leading to at least 35,000 fatalities. While globally, 700,000 people die yearly from infections with antibiotic-resistant organisms, AROs, primarily impacting a third of children under 5 years old and the environment.
This is Blanca, and I'm going to be talking about current events against antibiotics in the use of food animals. I read an article that was from someone that is from a university in North Carolina, and they were talking about how veterinarians now have to oversee antibiotics, and they have to, antibiotics being administered to livestock animals. Based on what I read, I feel like this is more so to please the consumer, to give them an insight as to how antibiotics being used is being handled. And I think having a veterinarian be like the middleman kind of ultimately gives a peace of mind to the consumer. They mentioned that this is also really important because it does build some different type of relationship between the veterinarian and the producer, which again I think ultimately helps the consumer as well, because as a consumer looking in, we can see that someone like a professional that we can trust is taking that initiative to oversee this, which again, producers can no longer buy these antibiotics without them being prescribed first. There is also a huge change in demand for food production without antibiotics. There was a 25% increase shown, which is a lot. This just means that a lot of people are jumping on that wagon and no longer want to consume products that have antibiotics in them. One of the biggest no-nos that I feel like I saw was the overuse of antibiotics can cause resistance, which ultimately doesn't help us. It kind of just leaves us worse off, which is why they want to stop using antibiotics so much to help avoid that resistance to the antibiotics.
Hello, my name is Kalia, and this is Increasing Regulations Against Antibiotics. As many have heard, the USDA have released a new rule regarding antibiotics for animal uses. This rule went into effect last month on June 11, 2023. For all animal owners, this means all antibiotic purchases require a veterinary prescription. Antimicrobial resistance, AMR, is a growth concern in the world, and the use of antibiotics in the animal food for is one of the contributing factors.
This is Blanca, and after we have gathered all of our information, we have determined that for our informed opinion, we are split down the middle. Two of us are for using antibiotics in food animals. The reason being is that this ultimately helps with animal welfare as well as food safety, which is very important. And then there was two of us that leaned more towards against antibiotic use in food animals because we have seen that the overuse of antibiotics is causing resistance, which ultimately leads to more issues than solutions, seeing as then these antibiotics don't work for these animals. And I think this just goes to show just how much split view there is through a consumer and producer viewpoint, because I'm pretty sure that is exactly what they are having to deal with as well, seeing as consumers are more against, whereas producers might be more for using these antibiotics.
Hello, my name is Kalia, and here are some of our resources. We have what consumers need to know about the use of antibiotics in food animal production. We have the progress, the history, antibiotics in Anglo-American food production, Rutgers University. We have a review of antibiotics used in animal foods, preserve policy and political public health reports. We have antibiotics excessive use in livestock and why is a problem. Feed them wisely. We have antibiotics stewardship in food production animals, challenges, progress, and opportunities. Also, antibiotics overuse in the livestock farming alliances to save our antibiotics. And last but not least, let's talk livestock and show.